1946.
1946.
And Dr. Patty was instrumental in it, W.W. Patty, and John Enright was a flyer. I'd had him as a student teacher. Well, Dr. Patty thought he was a very good addition, so he got him to be his assistant.
It was called physical training, and it was a department in the School of Education, and it included health. For example, Dean Patty, who was the first dean of our school, actually was a health educator by training and by background.
He had great vision. Well, he's the one that thought of the idea of the HPER school.
He wrote a health textbook on his lunch hour.
Dr. Petty did.
Dr. Petty. He was an old Quaker, and you don't waste time, you don't do this. But on his lunch hour, he'd write a little each day and finally put it all together and had a textbook in health education.
Dr. Patty put together all the related courses that he could find throughout the university in this welfare department. And that was the basis for his proposal to the trustees and the president to formulate the School of Health, Physical Education, and Recreation.
We had both a men's and a women's department, and we had recreation, we had health, applied health department. All of the combination of all these you wouldn't see in too many schools. You know, a lot of separation, but you wouldn't see them all come together in one cohesive unit offering a myriad of opportunities for careers.
The university accepted Dr. Patty's proposal for a School of Health, Physical Education, and Recreation. So that took it out of a School of Education completely.
This was the first school of health, physical education, and recreation in the country. So we were breaking new ground when we started.
Well, the late 1930s, I would ride a bicycle to school and be no problem, and then I'd drive the car, and when I could drive the car, I would park by the chemistry building. There was no limit in parking on the campus, and you could go anywhere. And well, I don't know, I think there was 3,000 students or something like that. It was just a small school, and that was before the war. After the war, it exploded. But
the GI Educational Bill for World War II veterans gave students an opportunity to, veterans I should say, come back and complete their undergraduate work and or continue their master's degree and or supplement the teaching credentials. So we had a raft of people coming in.
At that time, there was trailers all over the place up there by the football field was there. I came here, and I think it was in about 3 years, they built 66 buildings on this campus.
I can remember where the tennis courts are in that area out there. They had nothing but mobile homes were all laid along there. And as time went on, finally they took them away and had that nice big play area now where they would have soccer fields and things like that for recreational purposes.
When I came in, all those trailers were over there for students to live in because the dormitories you see now weren't there. That was a slum area. Doc Councilman, when he first came here, lived in one of those old houses with his wife. They were so bad that when I came over to see about getting a job, he wouldn't let me in the house. I got me as far as the door, and he says, that's it. You know, the old pool was there. We didn't have what we have now. This place, we had nothing. There was nothing here.
There were just two of us, 2 graduate students in the program, and 1 undergraduate. After that second year, the dean was concerned because by that time we got more students. The third year, we picked up a number of students, new students, for athletic training.
Because first I was in Montier, which is on the east boundary of the central campus. It was a professor's house. And it was just behind what now is Jordan Hall, the big greenhouse on 3rd Street.
But the Montier House was the original headquarters or dean's office.
School of Education had a new building at the corner of North Jordan and East 3rd Street. So we moved into Alpha Hall, just about 50 feet difference. You know, the funny thing about that was that the basement of Alpha Hall, which originally was a woman's dormitory, was the facility housing the animals from the psychology department. So they were caged and there was barking and yelping and everything else all the time. And on top of that, the facility was prone to flooding.
We, at Montier Hall, moved to Alpha Hall, first 2 levels. It had been condemned.
I remember we had a class in Alpha Hall. We were in the basement. There was one light bulb in the middle of the room, and you could just barely see.
And I walked into this old place, no air conditioning, no nothing. And it's a rundown old thing. But anyway, that was my first thing.
Then the women's department was over in the student building.
I guess there were about 16,000 people here. I remember it's just a small town. I thought, isn't that nice? A small Midwest community, and with a nice university. 16,000 was big, but nothing like we have today.
I think the main thrust of that school when I was there was to develop high school or grade school physical education teachers for mostly Indiana, but any other place that wanted them. And then, of course, they also had graduate students, but these graduate students came from all over the United States. They're from California, on the East Coast and West Coast.
Then, as it grew and continued to get alumni out in the field, its influence spread. People started sending students in. We were one of the first Big Ten institutions to accept minority students